Vekoma SLCs are one of the most infamous coaster models of all time. Most coaster enthusiasts have ridden at least one of these inverts, and they're familiar with the layout. But you can also experience this layout at Six Flags Over Georgia. Well, sort of. Blue Hawk, their sit-down Vekoma looper, has a nearly identical layout to the SLCs. But does it also suffer from the same flaws? Find out in this review of Blue Hawk. The story of this coaster begins in Wildwood, New Jersey. It originally ran from 1989 to 1991 as the Kamikaze at Hunts Pier, and it looks sort of similar to Great Nor'easter at Maurice Piers with its all-white paint scheme and the layout. In 1992, the coaster was relocated to Six Flags Over Georgia, given a red paint scheme, and named Ninja. This made it the third coaster in the Six Flags chain with this name, and coincidentally, the second relocated Vekoma looper with that name. Ninja unfortunately was criticized ad nauseum for being rough and littered with headbanging. After the 2015 season, Six Flags Over Georgia decided to take action and fix the coaster. But not before Ninja had its final swan song when it was featured as the Velociraptor in the 2015 Vacation film remake. For the 2016 season, the coaster was completely refurbished and transformed into Blue Hawk. The name was voted on by guests and handily defeated the other two choices in American Eagle and Air Commander. While the track wasn't replaced, the renovation featured 4 changes. 1. The coaster was painted royal blue. The coaster's appearance is one of its biggest strengths. The color really pops, and its placement above the water is incredible. It's one of the most picturesque coasters out there. 2. The coaster is given a very light military theme. This is reflected in the coaster's logo and the pendant hanging in the queue line. 3. Vekoma performed some track work according to the park, although the extent of this is unknown. It's clear the entire track wasn't replaced. Just look at how smooth rides like the aforementioned Great Nor'easter and Efteling's Python became after the track was replaced, but Vekoma could have finessed or refurbished some sections. 4th and most importantly, the coaster received 2 brand new trains from Vekoma with vest restraints. This fixed the biggest issue at Ninja, the headbanging. These harnesses featured soft padding that hugged your chest. Compare that with the old over-the-shoulder restraints that were relatively hard and constantly smashing the heads and necks of riders. The one gripe with the new trains is that your outside arm is really squished in there by the side of the train, but that's a relatively minor complaint. Blue Hawk has always been a walk-on for me in my visits to Six Flags Over Georgia, and per data on queue times, it statistically has the shortest wait of any major coaster at this park on average. This ride has always run 2 trains for me, and each one holds up to 28 riders, seating them in 7 cars with 2 rows of 2. And the staff usually has the next train ready to go once the prior one hits the final brake run. That's partially because of how easy the restraints are to check. There are no seat belts, just a hydraulically locking over the shoulder harness. But it's also because of how long this coaster takes to cycle, but more on that in a bit. I slightly prefer the back because you get a little extra whip out of the second and third inversions, but the rest of the ride feels identical in any row. The front does have the best view though if that's a high priority for you. Once dispatched, you turn twice and reach the ride's 122 foot or 37 meter tall lift hill. And this lift hill is glacial. It takes over 50 seconds to reach the top, and even when you get there, you're going to hang over the edge of the first drop for almost another 10 seconds. Out of curiosity, I watched an old POV of Ninja. That lift was slow as well, but they somehow managed to make it even slower for the conversion to Blue Hawk. After what seems like an eternity, gravity eventually takes over, and you twist 180 degrees to the right, down the 109 foot or 33 meter tall first drop. This drop isn't particularly steep, as it reaches a max angle of descent of just 48 degrees. And the banking is elongated, so there isn't any airtime nor laterals here. You do build up a considerable amount of speed though, and the pullout has strong positive Gs. That's followed by the best element on the ride, the butterfly double inversion. This element feels like 2 vertical loops back to back, except the part in the middle is squished together. This results in incredible positive Gs that always cause me to gray out. And if you're in the back, the exit from the element pulls you back down to the ground pretty hard. This element also has 2 awesome near misses, one entering the first inversion, and another exiting the second inversion. And these will not be the last near misses on this ride either. It's one of Blue Hawk's biggest strengths. Instead of going into a sidewinder and a 270-degree turn like the SLCs, Blue Hawk does things in reverse. You navigate a 270-degree turn with some laterals, and then you navigate a reverse sidewinder. This element doesn't do much for me up front. It's just too fast for any hang time, nor is it heavy on forces. But if you're in the back, you are whipped through it pretty fast though. Blue Hawk then traverses this gradual uphill climb, turns 180 degrees, getting a few more head choppers on the way. This element is pretty lackluster, and it just serves to get you to the next inversions. And these are back-to-back corkscrews. I found them pretty disorienting because they turn you counterclockwise. Almost every Arrow and Vekoma looper rotates you clockwise, so this reverse rotation threw me off. And you also get surprised by yet another head chopper coming out of it. At this point, the ride's basically over. You just have this tame figure 8 that gets you the first set of brakes. Then you oddly round a turn that banks slightly downwards, and then you hop up into the final set of brakes, ending the 2,742 foot or 836 meter long coaster. Now let's talk about the ride's smoothness. Most of the ride is decently smooth now, but the entrances into the inversions are still somewhat jerky. This doesn't bother me though because the restraints eliminate headbanging, but just know the ride is still a little bit shaky. So what would I rate Blue Hawk? I would give this Vekoma multi-looper a 6 out of 10. This is a solid looping coaster. The layout features a fun flurry of inversions. The butterfly at the start is one of the best inversions out there for sustained positive Gs. And then the rest of the ride inverts you 3 more times, while also mixing in some terrifying head choppers. I do prefer a smooth SLC over Blue Hawk, but Blue Hawk is head and shoulders better than most of the other SLCs out there. And I'd take it over quite a few Arrow loopers as well. The superior comfort really goes a long way, and I'm glad Six Flags invested what was needed to make this coaster enjoyable. I'd love to see Six Flags give a similar treatment to some of their other looping coasters across the chain. The other Ninja at Six Flags St. Louis is a prime candidate, especially because it had a similar reputation over George's looping coaster, and is also a Vekoma. But I'd also welcome this change in rides like Boomerangs and some of the Mega Loopers as well. So those are my thoughts on Blue Hawk at Six Flags Over Georgia. What are your thoughts on this steel coaster? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, especially if you rode it in its days as Ninja. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.